Kabakçı Mustafa was a rebel leader who caused the delay of Ottoman Reformation in the early 19th century. Yamaks and Kabakçı. Yamaks were a special class of soldiers who were responsible in defending Bosphorus against Cossack pirates from Ukraine. Unlike Janissaries, they were from Black Sea region of Turkey and not Devshirme, but they liked to share the prestige of Janissaries and considered themselves as a part of Janissary. Kabakçı Mustafa was a sergeant of these Yamaks in the castle of Rumlifeneri, on the European side of Bosphorus. He was from Rize, and probably about 35 years of age in 1807. According to legend, prior to being Yamak, he had fought against Russians in Crimean port of Anapa. The epithet Kabakçı, which meant leader, probably refers to his former battles, but except that almost nothing is known about his origin. He always appeared with two of his younger relatives, both using the same name of Mustafa of Iv and Mustafa of Pazar. Background: the reformist Sultan Selim III, who was under the influence French Revolution, tried to reform the institutions of the empire. His program was called Nizam-ı Cedid. However, these efforts met with criticism of the reactionaries. The Janissaries were afraid of being trained in Western style, and religious figures opposed non-Muslim methods in medieval institutions. The middle-class city dwellers also opposed Nizam-ı Cedid because of the new taxes to support the program and the general corruption of the Ottoman court. The beginning of the rebellion. On 25 May 1807, Raif Mehmet, the minister of Bosphorus, tried to persuade the Yamaks to wear the new uniforms. It was clear that the next step would be the modern training. But the Yamaks refused to wear these uniforms and they killed Raif Mehmet. This incident is usually considered as the beginning of the revolt. The Yamaks then began marching to Istanbul, the capital, about 30 kilometers away. At the end of the first day, they decided to elect a leader, and they elected Kabakçı Mustafa as their leader. According to historians, at this point it was an easy matter to suppress the revolt because the camp of well-trained Nizam-ı Cedid troops was nearby. But Kosey Musa, a member of the Porte whose title is roughly equivalent to interior minister, refused to use the modern troops against the Yamaks, and Selim III, who was quite pacifist, approved Kosey Musa. In a few days it became clear that Kosey Musa was supporting the rebels, whose numbers had increased with accretion of many people, including Janissaries who were staying in the capital. Kabakçı Mustafa as the de facto ruler of the empire. Kabakçı reached Istanbul in 2 days and began to rule the capital. In fact, Kabakçı was under the influence of Kosey Musa and the Sheikh al-Islam Topal-Atullah. He established a court and listed 11 names of high-rank Nizam-ı Cedid adherents to be executed. In several days those names were executed, some with torture. Then he asked to abolish all institutions formed within the scope of Nizam-ı Cedid, which the Sultan had to agree. He also announced his distrust in the Sultan and asked to take the 2 Ottoman princes under his protection. After this last step, Selim III resigned on 29 May 1807. The new Sultan was Mustafa IV. During the reign of Mustafa IV, the new Sultan appointed Kabakçı as the new minister of Bosphorus. Kabakçı returned to his base, but his headquarters was quite near to Istanbul, and he was still the de facto ruler of the capital. This period was one of the most chaotic periods of Istanbul history. Both the Janissaries and the Yamaks plundered the city. Soon it became clear that even Kabakçı was unable to cope with the anarchy. This period continued for about 14 months. Alemdar Mustafa, a Derebbian Ruskik who was a supporter of former Sultan Selim III, decided to re-enthrone Selim to end the chaos. But before intervening, he sent a squadron of 50 under commandship of Uzun Hassi Ali secretly to Kabakçı's headquarters. Honor of the squadron. On the very same day Kabakçı had married. After the nightfall of marriage ceremony and potation, it was an easy matter for the squadron to raid the headquarters and kill Kabakçı. Soon after, Alemdar Mustafa Pasha also marched to Istanbul, and after some fighting, Yamaks were subdued. Aftermath. Mustafa IV was dethroned, but as a last-minute precaution, he had ordered the execution of both Selim and Mahmut to be the sole male member of the Ottoman house. However, unlike unlucky Selim, Mahmut managed to survive, and it was Mahmut who was enthroned as the new sultan.